I've got over £10,000 in study budget expenses reimbursed to me over the past 1 year of ST4, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how and also why you should be using your study leave, study budget. I have made a video about this, but I'm here again because I think it's so important. The time I made the first video, I was only halfway through ST4, so I had got only 5k out of my study budget. So the point is not to get money, the point is to learn and to take advantage of all the opportunities available to you. So at the moment, I'm in a phase of learning and I'm really enjoying my work. I'm really enjoying learning, attending conferences and things. Personally, I really enjoy all that. So just as a recap, as a trainee, you have 30 days of study leave allocated to you, and you have an unlimited study budget as long as what you are applying for is justified or has been approved, which I think is such a huge privilege because even consultants don't have that. Consultants only have 10 days of study leave per year. So they have 30 days of study leave over a 3-year period, which is about 10 days per year. And they have, as in terms of the money, there's a consultant I was working with who told me it's about £300 per year, like of study budget allowed, which is so little. So I feel like I am now, by the time I watch this video, I might be an ST5. I have now only 2 more years of living this good life, of going for conferences fully paid. And yeah, I'm just here to encourage you to use your study budget and leave. So I've made a video previously, like I said, that has details of different courses that I did, but today I wanted to highlight the latest things I attended that cost lots of money, but also were really enjoyable. One was the Royal College of Psychiatrists International Congress in Wales. I only went for 2 days, but it cost me £1,000 for just 2 days. My transport was about £200, and that's just using the bus, rails, all that. I used all that. It took me 4 hours to get there from home because I'm not comfortable driving very long distances like that. But if you're driving, it can take you, for me, in my case, it would have taken me like 3 hours. And to get reimbursed for the mileage, so to get reimbursed for the fuel for that, your car has to have business insurance. So your insurance has to be covering you for work purposes, which my car does not have, but that's something I'm planning to change and work on. And because I'm losing out every time I go for a course which is drivable distance, then I don't claim back for the fuel or the mileage because I know I will not be reimbursed because I don't have the appropriate insurance for the car. So anyway, that was about £200, £250 even. It was so expensive. You know, traveling within the UK is so expensive. It's much cheaper to just even go abroad in some cases because air tickets are so much cheaper. So anyway, that was how much it cost me to get to Wales. And then accommodation for one night was actually £150, but study budget only covers £120 outside London. So I am, for context, in Sussex, and when I looked at our guidance, and I think our guidance is for Kent, Surrey and Sussex, is that for accommodation that they can pay up to £120 outside London and £150 in London. And I had, the accommodation I got was I think it was a Holiday Inn, and it was the cheapest, and yet it was a bit far from like the event. But anyway, it was £150, and the reason I paid it is because I had thought I had misread the guidance. So I thought that they're going to pay me back all my money, but they did not. So they paid me back only £120, which was my mistake. But anyway, now you know that you can pay for accommodation. The other thing is food, accommodation, and also food. So food, the guidance says you can get back £5 for a daytime meal and £15 for dinner, altogether £20 per day, which in my case, I didn't even need the lunch because the conference food was really good. For me personally, I enjoyed it, and so I only spent about £15, actually like 17, and they still covered it because it was over the £15, but still under 20. So anyway, I had a really nice meal, and it was like a little holiday for me anyway, like with kids. So who has kids, so meaning I didn't have my kids. I went for the meditation things in the morning. And I actually wish I had gone for longer, and next time I will go for like a whole thing because it was like a nice, really nice break. And also going for only 2 days was so exhausting because like the whole journey was so long, and I couldn't entirely fully relax because I know I'm on the lookout for my bus, my train, and I have to go back. Yeah, so that was that. The other thing to mention is that taxis are not reimbursed. So at some point in Wales, in Newport, I got lost and I ended up getting a taxi because I just couldn't be bothered. But taxis, unfortunately, or Ubers are not covered. So beware of that when you're planning your travel and your things, that you can't claim back taxi expenses, I think, unless in extraordinary circumstances, which I think you'd have to explain. I don't know the details of that. The other thing I want to talk about was the courses that I have next, which is one of them is EMDR, which is £1,440. That is by far the most expensive course I have applied for and has been approved. And the reason is because I'm really passionate personally about like trauma and how to help trauma, and I love the idea of EMDR because it's one of the modalities where I've read that even if you don't believe in it, it can still help, which I think is really good, especially because a lot of people, also not everyone is into talking and talking therapy. So I'm looking forward to being able to do that as well, EMDR. That's going to be about 7 days. So I'm currently at the end of my ST4, but already for my next placement, I have 13 days study leave that I have planned for, and I'm left with only 2 days. So to me, even the days are not enough because I have so many things I want to do. The other thing I'm doing is the master's event trauma conference, which the conference alone costs £900 face to face, and I'm going face to face this time. And then my accommodation, I'm going to be there for 3 nights, and that is going to be obviously 120 times 3. So really, and I'm going to, it's like going on holiday, but not really, but like a nice retreat to go and learn and relax. And yeah, those are the kind of things that excite me personally at this point in my life. So in terms of like negatives or difficulties of study budget and study leave, the main problem for me is that study leave it takes so long to be approved depending on where you are. I've been in different localities, and there's a locality I was in where it was really quick, like you'd apply by the end of the week, or like within 2 weeks you've got a response, which is usually yes. And where I am, it's a much bigger locality, a lot more trainees, very, very busy. So obviously that means it takes longer. So I think that's one of the problems. But I was told in the past that as long as your consultant has approved, then they're probably going to approve it. So once my consultant approves, then I pay for the thing, or I book it, and then I wait for the for my approval. Although, for instance, for some things like the EMDR course, I was not going to risk, because what if they said no, and that's a huge amount of money I'm paying without being reimbursed. Another thing is that EMDR is a therapy thing, and therapy things can be a bit complicated. To do a therapy course, you have to have your supervisor approve, but also you need your medical psychotherapy tutor to approve. So I had those approvals, but still I had to wait until I was approved before I booked that. For the master's event, which is a trauma conference, it cost £900. I really, really wanted to go, and also it's super, super popular, but I knew I was going to sell out, which I think it's already sold out by now. And so I just risked it and I paid in advance before getting approval, but in the end I got approved, so it's fine. But also it's something that I really wanted to go for, that I felt like even if they don't approve it, there's a chance that I would risk and pay it myself. Those are the difficulties of study leave and study budget. The other thing that's related is that you have to pay first and then be reimbursed after the event. So for instance, I'm filming this video in July. I paid for master's event trauma conference that's happening in September. I paid for that in May, and yet it's happening in September, which means I can't be reimbursed until probably October, because it's happening in September. Then you apply to be reimbursed, and then they pay you in the next salary. So that means that's a long time to be waiting to be paid back. So how I go about this is that I use 0% interest credit card. So I go to either Money Supermarket or Go Compare, those comparison websites, and put in my details to ask for comparisons for 0% interest credit cards. 0% interest credit cards means that you borrow money and you pay it back without paying interest. But that is as long as you pay the minimum money each month at least. So for instance, for my trauma conference that I paid for already in May, I'm already having to pay back the money, but it's less. and also I know I'm going to be reimbursed anyway. So that's another way that I go about that problem, and I would highly recommend you do that. Another thing is to plan in advance. So you have to plan well in advance. So that means you put some time aside and look at things you want to attend, or look at things you want to do with your life, like with your career. So for me, I wanted trauma things, which I've done, but I'm also interested in neurodiversity, neurodivergence. So in my first year, ST4, I did the UCAN ADHD course, I did the ADOS, I did the ADI. These are training things for autism assessments. So I'm training up in the direction that I want. So I'm doing things that I'm really passionate about. And something else I heard from a friend is that you can also have personal therapy paid for, which I didn't know. I knew you can have personal therapy if you're a medical psychotherapy trainee, and it's even mandatory, but I didn't know we could do that as well. So for my ST6, well, I don't know yet about ST6, but I know definitely what I want in ST6 is to go for the International Congress again, because it's a really good networking opportunity if you're looking for employment, and I'll probably be looking for consultant jobs. And there were a lot of stalls from all over, like from Canada. There were people from Canada looking for consultant psychiatrists. There was all these private providers, Psychiatry UK, different NHS trusts. So I think it's a really good opportunity. So I definitely booked wherever the International Congress is. When I'm in ST6, I will be going for that. And so that's about 4 days out of my study leave allowance of that year. So you need to be planning in advance, because otherwise by the time you realize, oh, you want to do this, it's been sold out. So that's it, guys. I hope you liked that video. If you want to watch my other video on study leave, which I shared the details of what exactly I attended or I plan to attend the whole of ST4, then watch this video here.